Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Studio 78 podcast. I am your host, Nache from NacheSnow.com. That's NacheSnow.com. Welcome. Please head over to the website to find show notes, also resource pages on photography and business and lifestyle, like all kind of good stuff. And I also have my blog over there, so all kind of goodness. So head on over there. And then also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Not only do I have the podcast over there, but I got like videos of me talking about finding your passion. I got videos of me doing my bullet journaling and all kind of other art stuff. So I try to, like, whenever I'm doing something, making something, or have an idea, I try to throw a video up, and I plan on doing a lot more in 2018. So just be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. Okay, I'm just going to jump right into this episode. At the time I recorded this episode, which was like September-ish, I believe, because I started my bullet journal in October, was when I first heard about bullet journaling. I knew nothing about it, but I started seeing it on Pinterest and Instagram. And then Britt from thecoppermoose.com told me that she was starting one. And so I was just curious about what this whole thing is. And so as I was just looking around and doing research and trying to find inspiration, Sanae from the Curse Journal on Instagram, I really just thought her account was really beautiful, and I just loved what she was doing. So I was like, I need to have her on the podcast so she can explain to me how to do this. I need this expert to help me out and help the listeners out too, or anybody else who wants to do it. So it's kind of funny listening back to this episode, because of course now I've been doing it for 3 months, and I'm not saying I'm a pro, but I've kind of gotten the hang of things. But when I was listening to myself asking her questions, I could just tell I was just so how do you do this? What do you do? So what pages do you have? Because it just seems so mysterious, when you first hear about it, when you start it, but then after you do it, you're like, oh, okay, I got it. So I really want to say thank you to her, because she is one of the folks that really helped me get a good understanding. Because after this episode, I also read a couple of articles, and then I just started the journal, and then I've been hooked ever since. So before we get started with this, just know that a bullet journal essentially is a journal meets diary meets planner, and you draw the pages in it. So you buy a blank notebook or just kind of blank journal, and then you set up the structure. And if you follow the bullet journal rules, then the structure is already set up for you, but you can kind of modify it and make it your own. But then kind of each week or each day, however you want to do it, you are literally writing or drawing in the book to make it your own. So she talks about some of the different spreads you might have, like a monthly calendar or a yearly calendar or a list. She talks about how you could keep that information organized, using a key or table of contents page or future log or index. But these are just some of kind of the base things you could use, but essentially you could do whatever you want. So for example, Brittany, when I first talked to her, she said she was just kind of keeping it simple, and basically her pages consist of just several lists that she's kind of writing over and over in order to keep her organized. Whereas mine is calendar, list. It's also an art journal. I have quotes in there because, for me, I do botanical illustrations in here. I do watercolor. I do hand lettering. I do calligraphy. I have washi tape. I have stickers. I have Post-it notes. I glue stick stuff in there. it is a hodgepodge of all kind of crazy, but I love it because it keeps me organized. I know what I'm doing on a daily basis. I know what's coming up, but then it also keeps me inspired. So when I hear or see a quote, I think of interesting ways of incorporating the quotes or whatever it might be into my bullet journal. And so when I go into it, like it just makes me happy because I can look back at kind of past spreads that I've made and it just like puts me in a good place. So mine is a little bit more involved, but you can really make it however you want. Like you'll see all kind of examples from really artsy ones that have all kind of illustrations and watercolors to other ones where it's literally just text and people are using it for just practical purposes to stay organized. So with that said, in this episode, she just talks to us about how she gets started. She gives us the base of like what you need in order to start to bullet journal. I talked to her a little bit about Instagram because she has like 10,000 followers, right? And she should because her stuff is absolutely beautiful. And so I could completely understand how she just kind of naturally got like those followers over time. And then she talks about also some of her favorite resources, even though she says like you don't need to have anything fancy. All you need is a notebook and a pen to get started and just keep it moving. But of course, I'm a nerd, so I needed to find out all of her favorite products. So head on over to nachesnow.com/40 so you can get the links. And I might, if I have time, have like a little cheat sheet for you over there where you can find out just how to quickly get started with bullet journaling so you don't have to do all that crazy research I did. All right. At the end of this episode, too, I will give you guys like what my favorite resources are for journaling. Cause I've been journaling or using planners since like elementary school. So I'm a total nerd. Okay. So let's get started. Here we go. All right. Hello, everyone. I want to welcome Sanae to the show. Welcome. Thank you for agreeing to come on.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so for those of you out there, like I'm totally addicted to journals. And she has this amazing Instagram account called Curse Journals. I reached out to her and I'm like, I need to have you on my show. But before we even get into like how you got into bullet journaling and so forth, can you just tell the listeners just a little bit about you?
So, yeah, I just, I followed my studies like every normal person on earth. I just went to high school with no particular, how do you say that? There was no specialization, I just went on with normal studies. But then I was like, but I know there are stuff I don't want to do, but I also know I want to do art in the most general meaning of the word, And but frankly, to be in art, you it's so vague. You can't really just choose something and get on with it. So I started to go in this super good school in Belgium because I live in the north of France, and I just commuted every day to Belgium because there was this huge school called Saint-Luc. It's in Tournai in Belgium. So it's an art school, but there are plenty of stuff like design and fashion. But for me, I went first in the photography license. So I did 3 years there. But then after 3 years, I was like, again, I still don't know what I want to do. So I kept just overthinking all the time. I wanted to try plenty of stuff, but still I didn't know. It was weird. I think I can be part of the big example of lost people, that really don't know what to do with their lives. And
And
Actually,
so it's like you're doing a bunch of things trying to figure it out, but just not quite sure like what it is you
ex-
want to do. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. But frankly, in this world, there are so many things you can do and so many choices that people who say, no, there's nothing for me. I don't think that's quite right. There are plenty of stuff for plenty of everybody, in fact. So I just think, yeah, maybe sooner or later we can find just the right path to go on and find something that really is going to touch us, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Really, like literally touch us.
Mm-hmm.
The abstract thing is going to grab us and tell us it's going to be with me and you. I don't know. So yeah, I was like, yeah, really normal people just trying to find myself every year and every time, and
Mm-hmm.
that's all.
And so what are some of the things that you were trying before you got into bullet journaling? And then how did you decide to like, what made you
Oh,
decide to start bullet journaling?
yeah. So, one thing I should mention, I
Oh, yeah.
also kind of write. So almost my whole life, I've been keeping notebooks of just
Mm.
musings and thoughts, and I've been writing almost every day of my life. So let's say I'm going into my room, I can find a diary from to 12 or something like that, really.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I have things back from high school. It's a little embarrassing, but when I look back, I'm like, those were my priorities. But yeah, I totally get you.
But it's nice to have a look at the past like that. Like really, you just you can realize how things can change and how we can evolve. Even if it wasn't our priority, we just realize we
Hmm.
are evolving all the time. So yeah, as I said, I always kept diaries and notebooks and stuff just for writing.
Hmm.
But I'm also like other people there, just going around on the internet and watching everything that's going on. So yeah, I stumbled upon plenty of accounts about everything. Really, there are bookstagrams about books. There are accounts only for, well, just the whole Instagram community is divided in plenty communities, and the fact that everything is such in a great order in everything just led me to think maybe I should try to order things in my life too. So I started to only make lists, just list, basic list, but list about everything. So I was on that website called listography.com, and frankly, I
Mm-hmm.
adored that site. It's really beautiful, and you can make lists about movies. You can make lists about, I don't know, the pens you want, the friends you want to write to. Frankly, it's really great.
Mm.
And yeah, so I've been making lists and I've been writing forever. And, you know, I just stumbled upon plenty of accounts dealing with planning and notebooks. So I've been digging into that and realized that there was a concept called the bullet journal where you have a notebook, a black notebook, but it's kind of a diary, but also it's kind of a planner. It's basically everything you want it to be,
Mm.
and you get the concept just slapped me in the face. I was like, "Whoa, this is amazing! I want that."
Yeah, and can you explain? Because some people out there might not even know what a bullet journal is. So it's kind of like it's like you do calendars, lists. Like
Yeah.
what would be your definition of what like a bullet journal is?
Okay. So, yeah. Frankly, the bullet journal, the base of it is to have monthly calendars and yearly calendars. So you can just note appointments or everything you want within the dates of your everyday life. Imagine you want to, let's say you have an appointment in 5 months, you have to write it somewhere. So you just try to start constructing some calendars based on months or year. So that's the base, really. The calendars are the base of the bullet journal. And then you can just make it evolve in days. Yeah, sure, in days and weeks if you want to write some stuff more precise. And then the other side of bullet journal is that you can make collections. So collections basically are just lists, really. They're just lists. But the thing is, it's really a bit farther than to-do list, because collections are like from movies you want to see to some thought you had during a day to nice messages you had during a month and memories. Frankly, it's basically, if you can just look around and list something, list what you're seeing and hearing, and that grinding exercise you can do, like tell five things you're seeing, 5 things you're hearing, 5 things you're touching. But then that it can become a collection. The thing with bullet journal is that you can make it all the things you want. So if you want a friend that's going to be light and just open up and send to you, here's a bullet journal. But if you want someone to remind you an appointment or something, here is a bullet journal again.
Right. So it's just a collection. Because, even, for the listeners out there too, definitely go onto Instagram as we're talking and go over to her account, Cursed Journal, because I think your account has like a lot of different examples of that. Like you have just lists of different things like to do, movies, like whatever. You've got like a full calendar. You've got like pages that just highlight like a specific day or a couple of days. I mean, really, it's kind of whatever you want to, I guess, like capture. Like you have like your favorite books, I see like releases for September. Like it's just like a series of lists and events that are important to you.
Exactly.
It's really interesting. Yeah. So you get into, bullet journaling, like you're looking around, you fall in love with it. So what do you kind of do with it next? Like, is this like a hobby? Like, did you just start it on Instagram? I'm just curious about like, is it just a hobby, or do you like teach people how to do it? Yeah.
Well, frankly, for now, it's really just a hobby. But the thing is, the bullet journal and all that belong to it is so interesting and so important that maybe I might think to do something more with it, because frankly, in my case, my bullet journal is here to help me find a way, help me evolve, and just trying to analyze myself, That's why there is plenty of trackers and a bit of odd stuff like mathematics. Really, I'm just trying to, it's almost like psychology. I'm trying to grasp every meanings I can and every information about myself and about my surroundings to make things better for me. So if it's working for me, I just wish I could just throw it away for the whole world to see. If it helps me, I want to help people with it,
Yeah. So what have you, because, I'm really trying to get people more into journaling in general, be it bullet journaling, art journaling, just using kind of like a journal in their daily lives. So how has like bullet journaling helped you?
Oh, in plenty of ways, frankly. So it helped me in a creative way first, because I liked the concept so much, because it was helping me and also helping me getting more creative. So every day, if I just wanted to, let's say, try a new color or try a new doodle or something, I knew I could do it in my journal. So I was just, because the thing with a bullet journal is you can keep trying. even if you fail, even if you success, you keep trying until nothing. You just keep trying because it's fun. It's you just are enjoying yourself every day when you're on paper with that,
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that also it's helping to memorize events, appointments and stuff. So yeah, the bullet journal helped me in my creativity. It helped me with my memories and to memorize everything I need to do. I also did because there is a huge satisfaction to see all your tasks in one page and all the squares inking. You ink a square when you did the task. So when you see all the squares inked, it's really satisfying. You're thinking you did well that day.
Yeah, and those squares, so with the bullet journaling, I guess, like when you
Yeah,
have specific tasks, you put like a series of squares depending on how many things you have to do so you can, I guess, track, like, I guess, fill in a square if you've done something. Or I guess if you
exactly.
want to do something daily, you might have multiple squares for the same task, and each time you complete it, you like ink it in.
Exactly. Really,
Okay,
really
okay.
that. But also we have that K page. It's kind of a legend where you can add a few symbols to explain to yourself and maybe to the people in Instagram if you post to your pages how your
Hmm.
system works. If you have a square, it's for a task. If you have a circle, it's for an event. If you have let's say an eye, it's for making research. Plenty of little designers to explain yourself how to keep the legend in.
So, like at the beginning of the journal, is it where you have like a legend and like a table of contents almost too, so you
Yeah,
could keep
exactly.
track of your system and how you do things?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, it seems like it's so weird because I'm like a journal person, but mine is mostly like number one, it's not as beautiful as yours, and number two, it's like random writings, like, or I have like an art journal where I paste things, but it's not as, I guess, organized as the bullet journal method. So I'm really interested about that because I know it's almost like a little book. So you got that table of contents, the
Yeah.
key or whatever. Like you really do have to kind of think through a system a little bit, right?
But the thing is, Ryder Carl already has given us a system. You have the months, you have the years. For those time, you just make a calendar. So there is already a base.
Okay.
Every
Okay.
every beginning of the month, you do a monthly page. So that's the base is already here. So now it's up to you to see how you want to develop that base, because everyone has a unique system to develop that one. Because some people just want to overlook their weeks, so they are not doing daily pages. They want everything on the same page. But some people just need to write every day, to remake every day the same spread, to memorize themselves.
Mm.
Was I clear?
So, no, no, no. Yeah, that's good. So, just for those that out there that might want to do it. So, okay, after you have like, your key or whatever set up, so you do like this monthly page, which is essentially, I guess, like a calendar, right? And
Yeah,
then that next page, either you could do, I guess, daily or multiple days at a time. It just depends on how you work.
yeah.
Okay. And then it looks,
Mm,
even like from looking at yours, like even when you do the daily pages, sometimes you do them in different styles. Like each
yeah.
day might have a unique style depending on what you're, I guess, capturing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet. Okay. It's starting to click. Because it seems
But
so, it's like very, like there's definitely like this process to bullet journaling.
there is a process, yeah. But I think it really depends either on the mood of the journaler or I don't know, the energy and stuff like that, and if we are busy or not. Because let's say I'm super busy and I I have a great mood and I want to do plenty of stuff. Then oddly I take a bit of time to do plenty of stuff in my bullet journal. But when I'm kind of low and I don't have the energy to do anything, oddly
Mm-hmm.
again, I don't do anything in my journal. Even if I spend the day doing nothing, I just
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything on my journal because I'm not. I need something to stimulate myself. So everything in a day can stimulate myself. So if I'm starting to do workout in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
there is already something stimulating me. So I want to keep that feeling further, and I keep doing plenty of stuff, and that's where the bullet journal comes to. I want to do plenty of stuff also on paper, you know.
Yeah, your stuff is like really cool. And then I guess like so you have like the monthly and then you figure out how you want to do the days of the week. But then I see in your journal too, I guess in between those pages, that's when you can do like unique pages. Like I see like one of your posts is like weekly rituals. And you have like a cool page where you outline that. So I guess you can just random lists that you want to create. You could also kind of stick them into the book, right?
Yeah,
Just,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
exactly.
Now, how do you come up with the different layouts for your journal? Because I mean, like
Um,
each one, I'm like, wow, this is a lot.
yeah, I get asked a lot about that, but frankly, I don't deserve all the praise I get because I think everyone inspires everyone. I just, I'm surfing on the web and looking at Instagram and just plenty of, Instagram. You just scroll and scroll, and everything is so fast. So I think my mind just uh, eat all the information that it can, and then
Mm-hmm.
I just start on the page. Maybe my mind remembers something it sees on that account or this website, and it just gather somehow to create something.
Mm-hmm. And then what are some of your favorite supplies? Like what journals do you buy in order to do the bullet journal and like your favorite pens, all that good stuff?
Okay, so my favorite notebook is Leuchtturm 1917. I think
Yeah.
that's the most used in the bullet journal community. But no, really, this is the first one I saw on Instagram, and I keep seeing it every day. And really, but it's a really great notebook because the pages are really, really resistant, but also
Mm,
they are not too thick. They're really great
mm-hmm.
and light, and frankly, it's a great book. Also, I need pencils. Usually, I just have a HB pencil with me, Staedtler mostly.
Mm,
But I have like a big supplies of just random pencils because every one of my spreads begins with just so much of sketching. I just
mm,
try and try and try, but only with pencil until I'm satisfied with something and I start inking.
mm.
Um, for pens, I really like the Staedtler ones. They come with plenty of different sizes from 0.05 to I think 0.8. That's right. 0.8
Mm.
is really amazing too. And
Okay.
lately, my favorite one is a Pentel Touch. It's like
Oh.
a tiny brush pen, really where I like the brush pen tombow, but it's really too big for me. And in bullet journal, I like writing some stuff a bit tinier than usual. And the Pentel Touch, you have amazing thin line, and you can make thicker ones, but it's not too much on the page. It's really well proportionate, and frankly, it's my favorite at the moment.
No, yeah, I will list all of those, on the podcast page, link up to them. Because, people love supplies, I'll
Yeah.
be looking at all kinds of journalists and they'll mention a pen and I'm like, oops, I want that pen too.
I know that feeling.
But I think that that's really kind of cool because it gives like insight into your process too. Like,
Yeah.
you're sketching first. And sometimes I tend just to go pen to paper. But I guess like the sketching it first too really lets you really think through like
Yeah.
the concept that you want to do on that particular page.
Exactly.
Yeah, before I like ask you a few like wrap up questions, I also was just curious about like your Instagram account. Like you almost have, 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
And how did that happen? Like, did you just, when you started out, you just decided to like start sharing and then, people just happened to find you?
Kind of, I think. Well, uh, um, I'm kind of a bad Instagrammer because I just post sometimes and then I just disappear and I come back but well, I like to think about my account as just the hashtags and the right hashtags and the right moment to post makes people find me easier, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only way. I don't use anything to make people find me. So the hashtags are really enough if you want to have enough visibility on Instagram.
No, that and your photos are amazing too. Because it just like inspires you to like go out and just try this. And then another thing too, I noticed that you were doing as I was looking through your account is you'll also paste things into your journal too, like
Yeah, sometimes.
watercolors and stuff. Okay, yeah. No, sweet. Well, any advice for people who might be intimidated by doing a bullet journal?
Wow, yeah. Frankly, I maybe have a ton of advice, but we talked about pens. So really, if you want to start bullet journaling, you don't need all the fanciest stuff in the world. You can use a black pen and a ruler and your notebook, and you can just start. You don't have to wait for the next order you want to make or anything. You just take a page and you start. That's the first thing you have to do. But then you don't have to put limits to yourself. Just have
Mm.
to let your hand and your mind wander. You just keep trying, as I said. It's just really a matter of keeping trying.
Great advice. And it's interesting too because like, talking to you about how it's constructed, it's like almost like day by day a little bit. So it's not like I guess a traditional calendar because like let's say if I have an appointment 3 months from now, I couldn't
Yeah.
necessarily record it in this because you're doing it daily, right? Like so you would still need maybe to use like your calendar on your phone or whatever to keep appointments that are like
No,
6 months from
because
now. Oh, go
no,
ahead.
there are page for that too. Because at the very, very, very beginning, if you want to, you can make what we called a future log. So the future log
Mm.
is like just a few pages where you just put plenty of tiny calendars that cover the whole year. So you can start, for this year,
Ah.
we can start to January. Just we can take like 3 calendars per page, and you make them for a few pages, and you have the whole year covered.
Oh, so it's like then you can kind of put stuff there so you could always, I guess, refer back to it when you're just looking at
Exactly.
what's coming up in the next few months. But then when you get to that page or that day 3 months from now, you could do something special with that page. But oh, I see what you're
Exactly.
saying. Ah. Now, is there anything else you need to keep in the front of the bullet journal? Because I know we've said your key, like I guess a table of contents, and then I guess these calendars, right? For the year, so
Hmm.
you can like do your future look. But is there anything else that needs to go in the front?
In the front, maybe the index, if you want to just fill the index with the main collections and the main dates, so you can find in the whole notebooks where you put that specific list or specific apartments.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other tips and tricks before I, lead us into the wrap up questions?
No, really, just if I start giving plenty of tips, people will assume they have to follow exactly what I say. But frankly, just do whatever you want. Nobody can tell you what bullet journal exactly is. It's really up to you. So if you don't even want to do monthly page with calendars and stuff, it's really up to you. You don't have to. Just what you need to organize in your mind, you put that on paper, and it becomes your bullet journal. That's it.
Great advice. And I think too, it's like don't get journal envy either, because I think sometimes on Instagram too, you see all these amazing people who do like these beautiful illustrations and watercolors, and I think people are like, well, I can't do that, but it's like, but it's your own journal, like you don't have to be them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, cool. So, my question to you is, have you discovered your passion? If so, what is it? And if not, what are you doing to discover your passion?
Whoa, that's a tough question, I think. So, I think I half discovered my passion. I know. I think my passion is probably make with plenty of different stuff, and I know bullet journal and art and stuff is really part of this passion. But I also kind of feel that something is missing.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing now is just keep gathering my passion and keeping them alive, so I can finish the whole passion thing and just find everything I need to be satisfied with everything, if we can ever be satisfied, I guess.
That's true, because we're always like chasing that next thing. But I agree. Like I think sometimes it takes you doing a ton of things that you like to figure out what you love.
Yeah,
You know,
but
you know.
I think even the process of everything we love doing is somehow a passion of its own. Like we say, it's not the destination that is the best, but it's the journey and something like that I remember. And I think, yeah, the whole process of doing all this passionate stuff is somehow building the passion. I don't even know if it's clear. It's kind of philosophical.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And what is one thing you cannot live without? It could be anything, tech, food, makeup, furniture, anything and everything, but one thing that you have to have.
I think I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's going to be my phone, because in my phone, no, really, I read books in my phone. I gather inspiration in my phone. I can kind of draw in my phone now with those kind of pencils. I
Oh
can
yeah.
make lists in my phone, so I can basically do almost everything. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to lie and say I just need a notebook, because I will need a pen and an eraser and stuff like that. So
But yeah, it's like the phone is like everything is in there, right? I know.
yeah.
And then, before I ask you where the listeners can find you, I'm curious too, like, do you only do your journaling at home or do you carry your journal everywhere with you?
So yeah, I carry my journal everywhere. If I'm thinking about something in the subway, I can grab it really quickly. If I'm in a cafe, everywhere I have my journal.
Yeah, because I think that's good to know too. And I guess it's small enough it can fit in your purse, your backpack,
Yeah.
whatever. And then you just have like maybe a little case or whatever with your pen, pencils, and yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
just I don't even put my pens in a pencil. I just throw them in my bag, because I just keep like a few black pens and a pencil, as I say.
And then, no, but you always have it with you. No, very cool. And where can the listeners find you?
Mainly on Instagram, so at Coast Journal, and you can't find me on my website yet because I'm building it slowly, but soon I'm going to tell you about that.
Ah, cool. Well, thank you again for agreeing to be on the podcast. I'm sure this will be an inspiration for a lot of people, and hopefully they'll start their own journal.
Wow, can't wait to see that.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'd love to hear your comments over at nichesnow.com/40. Please add them to the show notes page. I'd just love to get your thoughts. And if you have any questions about starting a bullet journal, I'd be happy to answer your questions over there too. But I told you guys that I would also give you guys a couple of my favorite products or resources. And some of them are similar to hers. And one of them is that notebook, the Let's Term 1917. I have a link over at the show notes or on the show notes page, but I really like it because the pages are so durable. Like I could put watercolor, I can use some of my pens that tend to have like really like heavy ink and it won't bleed through the pages. So it's pretty cool. And with that notebook too, it already comes like page number to almost like 200 and something pages. I think like 245, something like that. So it should last you about a year, which is amazing. And I have it in my favorite color, which is kind of like an olive green. And I think it's one of their popular colors too. And it has like two ribbons. And usually I keep one ribbon on the monthly calendar and then another ribbon on my weekly view. And then it has like a nice little elastic band in order to keep it the book closed. So this is like one of the industry standards. It's a little bit more pricey than going to like Target and Walmart. So, definitely think about what kind of investment you want to make. But if you're a paper nerd and a book nerd like me, then it's totally worth the investment. And I'm also like a pen nerd. So, a couple of pens that I use is one is the Unipen, which I really like, and it's water and fade proof. So, your stuff is going to last. I use a couple of Tombow pens, also calligraphy pens. There's two kinds. I'll link to them in the show notes, but I use those for my hand lettering. I use the touch pen that she mentioned for also for the hand lettering. Also, the micron pens, I have 01 and a couple of others, but normally I use like the 01 just to kind of write in my journal. So I'll bounce back between usually the micron and the unipen to do writing, and every once in a while do some hand lettering with them. But usually it's just for writing or drawing, like doing the botanical illustrations. Let's see, what else do I have? I have a pencil, like just a regular old cheap mechanical pencil. And I recently got a Lamy Safari fountain pen. It's a little pricey, but because I like calligraphy, I got this pen. Now, it doesn't work like a calligraphy pen, meaning like when you push down on it, it doesn't have a nib that will give you kind of like the thick and thin, but it's still just like a really cool pen that a lot of illustrators use. And then I also do calligraphy, so I have a calligraphy pen. I usually use like the beginner's nib, which is the Nico G. And I keep at least about, I'm like looking in my pouch now, about 8 pens with me at all times. If you go on YouTube, you'll see like a little pouch that I created in order to put in my purse, and it houses all my pens. And that Let's Term 1917 book isn't really big. It's like 5.5 by 8, something like that, and maybe a half an inch thick. So I just kind of like keep that in my purse along with the pouch with the pens with me at all times. And so those are really like my basics. Like Of course, I have like washi tape, and that I get from like Paper Source and all kind of other places. You could get washi tape from Etsy. I mean, all over. Like they have overseas websites that have like really cool washi tape. And Flow magazine is like a really cool magazine in order to get like patterned paper. And then and they have also like stickers and stuff in it. But other than that, like it's just like whatever I could find. But those are like my staples. And then for pictures, of course, I love my Instax printer, which prints Polaroid prints that I also use in my book. So those are my go-to. All right. Well, that's all, folks. I won't hold you guys anymore. I hope you guys find this helpful. If you have any questions, like I said, head on over to the show notes page. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Facebook. You guys know where to find me. I love answering questions. If you guys ever want me to do a video on it, just let me know. If I get enough people saying, yeah, girl, do that, I'll make sure to do it. And know that I have a journal coming out in 2018. It's not going to be like a bullet journal. It's more of a life journal where you're answering a series of questions in 10 categories just to figure out kind of what you want to do and what your passions might be. And it helps you kind of set goals and then kind of plan accordingly. So kind of look out for that. And if you want to be notified about when that is going to be launched, just head on over to nachesnow.com/journal. All right, that's a wrap, people. Make sure on iTunes or Stitcher that you subscribe and also give me 5 stars. I'll greatly appreciate it. And then we have one more episode before I just take a couple of week break, and then I'll restart season 2. At the beginning of January. But I'm going to give you one more episode for Christmas to hold you over of another amazing woman doing amazing things. So stay tuned. All right. You guys have an amazing morning, noon, and night, and I'll catch you later. Bye.